Okay, have you ever had that weird feeling someone you need just gone? Not like they move away, but like poof, almost unreal.
Like they were a file deleted from your personal reality.
Exactly. Welcome, everyone, to the NPC Energy podcast. This is our weekly top 10 look into whether maybe, just maybe, reality is a giant simulation.
And if things like The Matrix were less sci-fi, more
Yeah.
documentary, we look at glitches, weird theories, all that good stuff.
It's fun. It's fascinating. So if you think you're human, share, rate, follow NPC Energy. Prove it.
Right. Today, we're taking a simulated journey, a really fascinating one.
Where are we heading on this trip?
We are diving deep into this theory. Do people sometimes disappear because they've actually glitched out of your specific timeline?
Glitched out. Okay.
And we've got some really compelling anonymous sources to dig into this.
All right, before we jump in too deep, let's set the stage. For anyone new to the simulation, what are we actually talking about? What's a timeline anomaly?
Okay, so a timeline anomaly. What we mean by that is it's that weird feeling you get sometimes.
Yeah, like deja vu, but different.
Sort of. It's that nagging sense that something's off, like your memory doesn't quite match up with how things are now.
Right. Hinting maybe timelines can change.
Right.
Or aren't totally stable.
Exactly. That things aren't as fixed as we assume.
And what about a glitch out? What does that mean in this context?
A glitch out is, well, it's when someone who felt like part of your reality, maybe just a background person, maybe closer, they suddenly vanish.
Vanish how?
In a way that just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
We're not talking about, someone blocking you online.
No.
We're talking about it seeming like they never existed in the first place. In your shared reality, anyway.
Okay, give us some of those examples. The ones from our anonymous sources that really make you go,
All right, imagine this. A coworker. You see them daily, chat by the coffee machine, maybe worked on stuff together.
Their office stuff.
Then one day, gone, like completely wiped. Nobody remembers their name. Desk is empty. It's as if they were never, ever employed there.
And it's not just you forgetting.
No, that's the key. It's like a collective blank spot.
Okay, that is genuinely creepy. What else?
Or think about a movie.
Yeah.
You know you saw it. You remember a specific actor in it.
Yeah.
But you look it up.
Yeah.
That actor's not listed. Or worse, the whole movie. Seems like it never even got made.
Whoa, okay. That sounds a lot like the Mandela Effect, doesn't it?
It definitely touches on it, yeah. And then there are the really personal ones.
Like what?
Like a really close childhood friend. You have these vivid memories, shared big moments. But you pull out old photos, and where they should be, there's just nothing. An empty space.
No way.
And you ask other people who were there, they just draw a blank. No memory of this person at all.
It's like they got photoshopped out of your life retroactively. So what's the theory? Why might this happen if we're in a simulation?
Well, think about it like a big online game, a multiplayer server.
Okay.
Did that person just, rage quit your specific instance of reality? Or maybe the whole simulation had a kind of soft reset.
And it just forgot to reload their data file.
Something like that. Maybe their data got corrupted in the update.
Okay, wow. I'm definitely hooked. And yeah, a little spooked, gotta say. Where do we even start trying to unpack this?
Well, a good place to start, something probably familiar to a lot of listeners, is the Mandela Effect itself.
Right. That gives us a kind of framework for reality maybe not being totally consistent.
Exactly. It's named, of course, after that really widespread false memory. A lot of people thinking Nelson Mandela died back in prison in the 80s.
Which he didn't in this timeline anyway.
Correct. It just shows how large groups can share the exact same incorrect memory. It's fascinating.
And there are loads of others, right? Like the Berenstain Bears thing.
Oh, the classic. Berenstain versus Berenstein. I swear I remember it with an E.
Me too. It's so weird. It feels wrong the other way.
It's one of the most common examples. Or does the Monopoly man have a monocle?
He has to, right? Rich Uncle Penny bags.
Well, check the box next time you play in this reality.
Yeah.
No monocle. Never had one, apparently.
Get out. That just feels wrong. Incomplete. What about Pikachu's tail? Black tip, yes or no?
Another huge one. Lots of people remember that black tip.
I do.
But officially, nope. Always been just yellow with the brown base.
My childhood memories are a lie. Okay, so how does this connect back to people glitching out?
Well, the thinking is, maybe these shared false memories aren't just, brain hiccups. What if they're actually evidence, like little breadcrumbs left behind after subtle edits or shifts in the timeline?
The simulation developers, the devs, are applying hotfixes to reality.
Kind of, yeah, like patching the simulation's code.
Yeah.
Maybe, just maybe. When they do these big updates, some data gets lost. or corrupted.
And the corrupted files. Those are the people who vanished, the NPCs whose data didn't quite make the transfer during the timeline update?
It's one theory, that fits the pattern. The Mandela Effect shows reality can be fluid, or at least our perception of it can. So maybe smaller, more localized glitches happen too, like individual people.
Okay, mind sufficiently bent. But what about people who aren't, like, central characters? More like background extras in our lives.
Yeah. That brings us nicely to theory number 2. Procedurally generated background characters. NPCs, basically.
Procedural NPCs, like in a video game.
Exactly like in a video game.
Right.
Think about characters that seem to exist only in certain places or contexts. They're there to make the world feel populated, more real.
Okay, like the old guy who walks his dog past your house at 8 a.m. every single day, rain or shine.
Perfect example. Or, that person who worked at the corner store for years. You saw them all the time. Then the store closes down. Poof. They're just gone. No trace of them anywhere else.
Right. You never saw them outside that store context.
So the theory here is when these people disappear, it's not that they left. It's that you move beyond their relevance in your story.
Their script ended for me.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
They were there to populate that scene, that part of your experience.
Mm-hmm.
When the scene changes,
yeah,
they might just sort of de-render.
De-render. Wow. Like Skyrim villagers, after you finish the quest line in their town, they just go back to chopping wood or whatever, or maybe vanish if you don't go back?
That's a great analogy, actually. Their purpose in your immediate simulation is done, so they're not actively needed anymore.
Could that explain, maybe, that memorable kid from 3rd grade who seems to have 0 online presence now? Like, no Facebook, nothing.
Potentially could, yeah. They existed fully within that specific level, your 3rd grade classroom. Outside of that, maybe their simulation data was limited, programmed just for that role.
It's a bit unsettling, the idea that some people we interact with are just temporary scenery. But if they're not fully real in the same way, why do we remember them so clearly sometimes?
That's the tricky part, isn't it? Maybe the simulation gives them just enough detail, enough presence for us to accept them in that context, enough to make the world feel whole.
But not a whole independent life simulation running in the background for every single person.
Possibly not. Maybe it's more efficient that way for the system. When their context ends for you, their active rendering fades.
Okay, theory 3. You said this one goes even deeper down the rabbit hole. Timeline divergence. Quantum stuff.
Buckle up, yeah.
Okay.
This one pulls from quantum mechanics, multiverse ideas.
Yeah.
It's pretty out there, but fascinating.
Lay it on me.
The basic idea is that reality isn't just one single path. It's more like a tree, constantly branching out.
Branching how?
Every choice we make, every single decision, big or small, could potentially split off a whole new timeline, a new branch of reality.
Wait, so every time I decide between coffee and tea, a whole new universe is born where I chose the other one?
In theory, yeah. It's a mind-boggling number of potential realities.
Okay. So how does that make people disappear?
Well, think about the people in your life. They're making choices too, right? What if a choice they make leads them down a different branch, a timeline that diverges significantly from yours?
So, my friend who just stopped calling, maybe they didn't just ghost me. Maybe they branched off into a reality where, I don't know, they became a professional unicyclist in Tibet.
Exactly. Their path splits from yours. And maybe in that other timeline, let's call it timeline B17, remember Stacy?
Yeah.
Maybe B17, she actually did move to Amsterdam.
Yeah.
And joined that roller derby cult she was talking about.
Roller derby cult. Okay. So, she didn't glitch out of my timeline. She just veered onto a different highway of reality.
That's one way to look at it. Or maybe the simulation itself does some housekeeping.
Housekeeping.
Maybe it prunes timelines that get too messy or redundant, too far removed from the main narrative flow of your experience.
Prunes them. Like Loki and the TVA, but maybe less dramatic.
Perhaps. Less flashy equipment, maybe. Just a divergence occurs, the connection weakens, and eventually, from your perspective, they're just not part of your reality anymore.
Wow, so it's not an error, maybe, but a feature, a consequence of reality constantly branching.
It's a possibility, yeah. It suggests these disappearances are a natural outcome of this incredibly complex branching system.
Okay, this is heady stuff. We've got the Mandela Effect suggesting reality edits, procedural NPCs as background filler, and now branching timelines. But what about actual stories? I know our listeners, our fellow players in this game, have sent in some really weird experiences.
Oh, absolutely. These anonymous sources, these, let's call them debug reports from the community, they're what make this really hit home.
Yeah, the first-hand accounts are where it gets really strange. Let's dive into those. What's the first one?
Okay, first up, Listener report number 1. We're calling it the vanishing roommate.
Ooh, okay.
This listener describes living in a college dorm, had a roommate for a whole semester, shared classes, hung out, the usual roommate stuff.
The whole 9 yards.
Right. Then winter break happens, listener comes back, roommate's just gone.
Moved out. Transferred.
That's the thing. Not moved out, not transferred, just vanished.
Yeah.
And the really weird part, nobody else remembers him. Not the people on the floor, not even the RA, the resident advisor.
No.
The RA actually insisted the listener had always had a single room that year.
Whoa. Chill.
Yeah, wait, there's more. The roommate's entire online presence, social media, everything, wiped clean, gone.
That is deeply unsettling. It's not just memory, it's like a retroactive reality edit. The RA saying it was always a single room.
Exactly. It's like the simulation just wrote him out of that whole semester for everyone except the listener. Total erasure.
Okay, wow. What's the next report?
This one's called the glitched grandpa.
Okay.
So this listener has a really clear, vivid memory of their grandfather dying back in 2009. They remember the funeral, everything.
Okay. Sad, but seems straightforward.
Right. Until years later, their mom casually mentioned something about grandpa coming for a visit.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Turns out, in the current timeline, grandpa didn't pass away until 2019, a full decade later.
No. How is that possible?
The listener was baffled. They even found the funeral program later, dated 2019.
The program matched the new date.
Matched the new date. And here's the real kicker. The listener checked their own old journals from around that time.
Yeah.
The journals also reflected the 2019 death date, as if their own recorded history had been altered.
That's terrifying. It's like their personal timeline got overwritten or merged with another version, and the evidence changed too.
Exactly. The physical evidence, even their own written records, aligned with the new reality. It makes you seriously question how stable their own pasts are.
Seriously? Like a cosmic retcon of your own life. Okay, one more.
One more. This one's the checkout clerk loop.
Checkout clerk loop. Intriguing.
This listener describes a grocery store they went to for over 10 years. And pretty much every time, they had the same checkout clerk.
Okay. Consistent employee.
Very consistent. Same look, same kind of flat, monotone greeting. Did you find everything okay?
Yeah.
Same routine every time.
Right.
Then the listener moves. Different part of the city. Starts going to a totally different grocery store, different chain, everything. And who's working the checkout? The exact same clerk. Yeah. Identical. Same look, same voice, same greeting.
No way. That's strong evidence for that procedural NPC idea, isn't it?
It really feels like it, doesn't it? The extreme consistency. Then reappearing in a totally different, unrelated location. It's like a character model being reused by the simulation.
Just fulfilling the checkout clerk role wherever it's needed in the listener's vicinity. Wild.
Makes you wonder how many people we see regularly are just fulfilling a function like that.
Okay. These stories definitely add fuel to the fire. So for our listeners tuning in, maybe you're wondering about your own reality now.
We thought you might be.
Yeah.
So we put together a few little experiments, some glitch bait for you to try out.
Let's see if we can catch the simulation slipping. What's the first test?
Okay, first one, the name verification check. Nice and simple.
How does it work?
Casually ask, say, 5 different coworkers, the last name of another coworker everyone supposedly knows.
Okay.
Just listen carefully. Do they hesitate? Do they seem unsure? Do you get slightly different answers?
What would that indicate?
Even a little inconsistency, a bit of hesitation. Could be a tiny soft glitch, a flicker in the shared data file for that person.
Interesting. Okay, what's next?
Next up, peripheral NPC observation.
Sounds like serious spy work.
Sort of. Find a reasonably busy intersection, maybe on your way home. Just hang out for 10 minutes, observe people passing.
What am I looking for?
See if you spot the same individual looping back into view unnaturally quickly. Or pay attention to clothing.
Clothing?
Yeah, look for clothing loops. The exact same distinctive outfit appearing on different people in a short span of time. It's a classic reported glitch.
Okay, I can try that. And the last experiment?
The memory synchronization test. This one involves an old friend. Reach out to someone you haven't spoken to in a while. Reminisce about some specific key events you definitely shared. A concert, a trip, a party.
And compare notes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
See how closely your memories align. Are there major differences in who was there, what happened?
It could be revealing.
Well, maybe it'll show if you were the NPC in their timeline memory, or vice versa. Whose version of reality holds up?
Ooh, okay. Testing the integrity of shared memories. I like it.
Give them a try, see what you find. Or don't find.
So wrapping this up, these theories, these stories, are people
Okay.
really glitching out? Or maybe they were never fully rendered for us in the first place.
Could the simulation just be optimizing? Tidying up the narrative by removing characters or elements that aren't plot relevant anymore?
It's a massive thought to chew on. The implications are huge for how we see reality and each other.
Of course. There's always the simpler explanation.
Which is?
Maybe. And maybe
Right.
we're all just really, really bad at keeping in touch.
Yeah. Glitch theory is way cooler.
Definitely cooler.
Well, that's our simulated journey for today on the NPC Energy podcast. Don't forget to share this with your timeline variants.
Leave us that rating and review. Let the algorithm know you're real.
And smash that follow button like it's the big red pill. Always remember.
Welcome to the glitch, baby.
And hey, if you've got your own glitch story, a weird disappearance, a reality flicker, send us those anonymous source reports.
Yeah, email us or hit us up on social media. Use the hashtag NBCEnergy. Your debug log might just fuel our next investigation.